The girl was holding a huge egg in her arms, and it was about to break out of its shell. The girl was startled by the movement and watched as a bird's claw stuck out of the egg, which was a bit oddly shaped. A day earlier the girl smashed a bird's head to pieces and took its egg. But this is not an ordinary egg. The day after hatching it with a teddy bear doll, the egg became as big as an ostrich egg. The girl was curious, but she wasn't afraid. Just stuff this egg into the doll's stomach again. That night she took a flashlight, secretly nestled under the covers, to enjoy. As a result, she saw a strange scene. The surface of the egg emitted red light. There was also a little cube moving inside. The girl was overjoyed. This was her achievement. But within a few days, the egg was so big that it burst the teddy bear's belly. Every time the girl was very sad, she would hug it and shed tears. But she didn't see that the tears that flowed onto the egg shell were all absorbed by the egg. Then the strange egg made a noise. It was about to break out of the shell. The girl was frightened by this movement. She kept backing away. She watched as a strange bird's claw reached out from the egg. Without hesitation, she went into the closet. This look would be disgusting even to anyone. The egg shell broke and the shape of the bird was exposed to the eye. The girl calmed down a bit and peeked at it in the crevice. The bird turned out to be very interesting, knew where the girl was, and did not say, "Just give her a surprise." The father's voice came from outside the door. The bird was afraid of being discovered and rushed to break the window to escape. The next day the girl heard a knocking sound from outside the window. She lifted the cardboard box and saw the bird come straight in. The girl was afraid of being attacked by it and kept hiding back, but the bird showed her its injured hand. It meant to ask for help. The girl's hand trembled as she helped it pull out the glass shards. The bird screamed, scaring the girl to cover her eyes to protect herself. No movement for half a day. The girl removed her hand and saw that the bird had covered its eyes just as she had. She put her hand out, and the bird put its hand on hers, then put it on his head, carefully requesting a touch. The girl felt its kindness, so she was not so afraid of it. The bird and the girl became good friends. Every night, the girl would sing him a lullaby to put him to sleep. In the middle of the night, a dog suddenly barked and the girl frowned impatiently. The bird felt this mood and was immediately awakened. When the girl opened her eyes, the bird was on top of her with a big smile. Drool on the girl's face, but the bird does not mind. Just use mouth to remind her to look next to her. The girl turned her head and found a body next to the pillow. It was the neighbor's dog. As soon as it was light, she dug a hole and buried the dog. But her brother saw this scene. He dug up the dog and threw it in front of his parents. He wanted them to know how vicious his sister was, so that his parents would love him more. But his parents didn't believe him and told him to apologize to his sister. Angry brother pushed the girl down. The girl did not say anything, but showed a look of abhorrence. It so happened that this mood was caught by the bird again. The brother didn't know anything. Curious, he went into his sister's room and lifted the bed sheet where the bird was hiding. The brother complained to his mother that his sister was hiding a monster. The mother didn't believe him at first, but looking at her daughter's strange behavior, she had to suspect. Lifting the sheet, there was nothing inside, only a piece of clothing thrown away. The girl just put her mind at ease when she saw her mother open the closet. The bird was hiding up there, and the mother didn't see it, but the girl did. She hurriedly closed the closet door and sent her mother away. The time she spent alone with the bird was particularly relaxing for the girl. The relationship between the two grew better and better. The bird never grew feathers. The girl was afraid that it would be cold and gave it her own clothes. But the more time passed, the more strange things happened in the house. The mother often had strange dreams in which a monster was on top of her. When she woke up, her hands were full of slime and there were feathers left on the floor. She thought there was an intruder in the house and went to check the living room with a knife. Footsteps came from behind her. The mother turned around and was hugged by her son. The son mumbled something about his sister being a monster. In fact, she was almost a monster. She dressed the bird up like herself and complimented it on its beauty. The bird was so happy that she was willing to work for her. So the next day the girl received a gift. She had a competition at school, and there was only one last spot left. The girl practiced so much that she couldn't even meet the teacher's standards even though her hands were worn out. Not so with her friend, she could easily complete the task. She was the only one who could qualify for the competition. The girl knew her friend was good, but she's been practicing for so long, how can she not be as good as others? But the girl was unarmed, so she could only envy her friend in her heart. But who knows that the bird noticed this feeling? It did not allow the girl to be aggrieved. So when they met again, her friend was already lying in a hospital bed. The girl blamed herself. She went home and loudly asked the bird why it did that. But it could not speak. It could only look up at the girl. The girl had no other choice but to slap herself. But the strange thing is that the pain was actually transmitted to the bird. Seeing how the girl collapsed, the bird is distressed. It hugged the girl tenderly soothing. At this moment, perhaps only this bird can understand what the girl's heart is thinking. The girl took the axe and looked fierce and wanted to do something to the baby in front of her. A girl with the same face at school sensed this feeling. She couldn't care less that she was competing and deliberately twisted her hand. The pain reached the vicious girl's hand. The axe fell to the ground and the child's cries drew his father. The man looked at the girl's struggling face and was directly dumbfounded. Is this still the fragile little girl he knew? The girl doesn't want to talk to him. She jumps out of the window and escapes. The girl at school messed up the game and went home in disgrace. But as soon as she reached the door, she was stopped by a man. Man wants to complain to her mother. But the mother said they just came back from school. Looking at the girl's completely different outfit, the man has nothing to say. But he had to protect his children, so he had to kick them out. Back in the car, the mother exaggeratedly banged her head against the car, mouthing the uselessness of her daughter. The girl was very sad. But she was often oppressed by her mother, so she did not dare to say anything. She returned home and saw the same figure as herself outside the window. The original vicious girl is the evolved bird. Only the appearance is very similar to the girl. At this time, the girl did not want to see it at all, but also cruelly pushed it out of the window. The bird was hurt by the fall and kept chirping at the girl. A puzzled father's voice came from the side. He thought it was his daughter, so he brought her into the house. On the other hand, the girl kept apologizing to her mother, promising she could do better. But the mother ignored her completely. When the girl left, she ran to her room to look for her daughter again. Of course, she saw a bird instead of her daughter. The mother was disgusted by the bird's messy hair. She took the comb and insisted on combing the bird's hair, despite its pain. So powerful that it ripped off the bird's scalp. The pain was so great that the bird became angry. It hugged the mother and sank its nails into her back. The mother couldn't get free. Fortunately, the real daughter arrived and pulled them apart in time. Looking at the two identical daughters, the mother was bewildered. The girl yelled at the bird in anger. I don't want you anymore, you leave my house. Under the heartache, the bird tore its mouth and left in embarrassment. The girl apologized to her mother, saying that the mistakes she had made all this time were all the bird's doing. She couldn't control the bird. The mother then realized that her daughter had been wronged all this time. The two then took a knife and tried to kill the bird once and for all. The mother opened the closet where it often hid, but saw nothing. But then she turned around and was held hostage by it. While struggling and tangling, the mother successfully got the knife and stabbed the bird's leg, but the girl felt pain in her body. Just when the mother wanted to kill the bird, the girl's heart softened. She told her mother that it was her hatchling after all. But the mother did not listen and stabbed the bird hard. But she didn't expect her daughter to block the stabbing. The girl's blood was drunk by the bird, and the wounds on the bird's body quickly recovered. The eyes also became more like human eyes from grayish white. Not only that, but she could also call her mother. The mother looks at the familiar face in front of her and leaves a sob of grief. And that's the end of the movie. This is an open ending. The mother's eyes are intriguing, and I don't know how she will deal with this daughter. The name of the movie is Pahanhautoja. What do you think about this movie?